Hello and welcome to S24 Rundown. I am Gloria Atta and here's our news in brief. To begin with, President Bola Tinubu says many Nigerians are still facing economic hardship despite ongoing reforms aimed at stabilizing the economy and driving growth. In his Democracy Day address, the president acknowledged citizens' difficulties but assured that government efforts are focused on reducing inflation, boosting food production, creating jobs and improving living standards. Tinubu said reforms since 2023 have increased revenue, improved fiscal transparency and attracted investment in agriculture, energy, manufacturing and technology. The president stressed that democracy must deliver through Operation Safe Corridor, saying it must be felt in the pocket as the government works to ensure reforms reach households. He also linked development to security, expressing concern over recent abductions of school children in Oyo and Borno states and reaffirming efforts to strengthen the security architecture. Reflecting on 27 years of uninterrupted democracy, Tinubu urged Nigerians, especially young people, to remain committed to nation building and democratic values. In another development, Katsina State Governor Dikko Rada has called on bandits in the northwest to lay down their arms and embrace peace, assuring repentant fighters of government support for integration into society. He made the appeal on Thursday during the inauguration of 152 mass housing units for internally displaced persons in Jibia local government area. Rada said insecurity in the region has gone beyond crime to include economic hardship, climate stress and social challenges, stressing that lasting peace can only be achieved through dialogue, good governance and lawful means of livelihood. He urged those still in the bush to return home, saying opportunities such as housing, grants and empowerment programs are open to those who embrace peace. The governor disclosed that beneficiaries of the Jibia housing scheme will receive mattresses, blankets, cooking stoves, rice and a 200,000 naira cash grant, alongside access to supporting infrastructure such as electricity, water, markets and a veterinary clinic. He added that the intervention aims to restore dignity to families affected by banditry, displacement and violent crime. Rada said the state is recording improved security, with farmers returning to their fields and markets reopening, while expressing optimism that insecurity will soon become history. In another development, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, says it recorded 24 pipeline theft incidents between 2025 and 2026. The disclosure followed a joint inspection of a vandalized section of the Nigerian Pipelines and Storage Company crude oil pipeline at Pai community in the FCT. NNPC said 19 cases occurred in 2025, while 5 have been recorded so far in 2026. With security agencies including the NSA office, police and military involved in investigations. They said pipeline theft has increased since 2024, with criminals disguising as government task force agents to sabotage infrastructure. About 9 kilometers of pipeline were reportedly stolen in 2025, while recent cases occurred along the Warri-Kaduna and Jos-Gombe corridors. NNPC management described recent arrests as progress in dismantling criminal networks threatening energy security. The FCT Police Command said investigations have identified sponsors and receivers of stolen materials, adding that prosecutions will follow. Now, Jigawa State says it has deployed a world-first enterprise artificial intelligence suite across its public basic education system to improve learning outcomes and strengthen data-driven governance in schools. The initiative implemented under the Education Data for Policymakers. Officials say the system places Jigawa among the earliest adopters of large-scale AI in public education administration, with tools that allow education managers to identify learning gaps and intervene in real time. Speaking in Duse, officials say the system places Jigawa among the earliest adopters of large-scale AI in public education administration, with tools with education data in simple language, improving planning and resource allocation. Education experts say the innovation could help bridge the gap between rural and urban schools through teacher support and remote learning tools, reducing learning loss. Now, a federal high court in Lagos has convicted 11 Indian sailors and their vessel, MV Aruna Hulia, over the trafficking of 31.5 kilograms of cocaine into Nigeria. The drugs were intercepted by the NDLEA at Apapa Port on January 2, 2026, concealed in the ship's cargo compartment. The court approved a plea bargain convicting all 12 defendants under the NDLEA Act. Each defendant was fined 100,000 naira, while the vessel was ordered to pay $5.3 million in restitution to the federal government. Principal officers of the vessel were also ordered to pay $100,000 each, while other crew members were fined $50,000 each. NDLEA described the ruling as a strong warning to international drug trafficking networks. Now turning to the international scene, a South Korean court has sentenced former President Yoon Suk-yeol to 30 years in prison over military drone incursions into North Korea. The court said the operation carried out before his 2024 martial law declaration was aimed at provoking North Korea and creating a security crisis to justify emergency rule. Judges ruled that Yoon abused presidential powers by using the military for political purposes. He denied wrongdoing, insisting the martial law declaration was in the national interest, while his defense argued the drone operation was a response to North Korean provocations. The court said presidential powers must be used for national security, not political gain. Yoon's 2024 martial law declaration was overturned within hours by lawmakers, triggering protests and political instability. He's currently facing multiple legal cases as South Korea continues to grapple with the fallout. Now moving on to business news with Hadiza Galadima. Stay with us.
Welcome to your business update on S24 Rundown, and here is what's shaping the economic landscape in Nigeria and the globe. We begin with Nigeria's telecommunications sector, where it's witnessed a significant drop in foreign investments. According to figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics, capital inflows into the sector fell by more than 90% in the first quarter of 2026 compared to the same period last year. Analysts said the development raises concern over investors' confidence despite recent tariff adjustments aimed at strengthening the industry's earnings outlook. And over to the Nigerian stock market, where it continued its upward trajectory as investors maintained strong interest in banking, oil and gas, and insurance stock. The Nigerian Exchange All-Share Index remained around the 250,000-point mark, while market capitalization stayed above 160 trillion naira. Market analysts say improved corporate earnings expectations and sustained liquidity are supporting the bullish sentiment. And on the equities market, here are the top performers. Sovereign Trust Insurance gained 10%. Zich Industries also appreciated by 10%. While International Energy Insurance advanced by 9.98%. And on the top laggers, we have Chemical and Aligned Products lost 10%. Austin Lars shed 10% and Premier Paint declined by 10%. Meanwhile, investors are maintaining confidence in key sectors of the Nigerian economy. Market watchers say banking, energy and industrial stock continue to attract attention with positive earnings projections, helping to support market resilience amid global uncertainties. And on the global scene, stock rallied across major markets following renewed optimism over a possible peace agreement involving Iran. The development boosted investors' sentiment across Europe and Asia, while oil prices retreated, easing concerns over supply disruptions and inflationary pressures. And finally, in the commodities market, gold prices weakened this week, heading for a weekly loss amid concerns that persistent inflation and expectations of further interest rate hikes could weigh on demand. Despite the decline, analysts say the precious metal remain an important safe haven asset during periods of economic uncertainties. So do remember that great things in business are never done by one person. They are done by a team of people, and that is from Steve Jobs. And that's the wrap on Business Update. Up next is our newspaper review after the break. Do stay with us and have a productive weekend ahead.
Thank you, Hadiza, and welcome back from that break. Now on the newspaper review with Abubakar Turaki. Welcome to the studio again.
Thank you so much.
And should I say Happy Democracy Day to you?
Well, thank you, since it's officially recognized.
Abubakar is very calm today. Let's hope that the newspaper review is going to get him jigged up a bit. We're just going to start with our first newspaper, and that will be the Daily Trust. And on the front page, it says, State Police near reality amid the debate. Now, the push for state police appears to be gaining momentum. Abubakar, do you think Nigeria is finally ready for state policing?
Yeah,
Okay.
Nigeria is actually ready for state police.
Okay. So, like I said, we are going to be moving to our first newspaper, which is the Daily Trust, and the front page says, State Police near reality amid the debate. After a series of pushes and pushes that have actually lingered for a long time, the push for the state police is gradually gaining momentum. And supporters, there have been several comments on different camps, and I can't wait to start having this conversation with Abubakar. So first, some of the things that pundits are talking about is how Nigeria can balance local control of policing with security interests. So there are lots of concerns when it comes to state policing right now, which makes everybody to wonder if Nigeria is truly ready at this point for state policing.
Yeah, with the way actually things are going, especially the security architecture in this country is now volatile. It has become clear and obvious that the country is actually in a tense condition, and those that are saddled with responsibility to do that are becoming so overwhelmed because they forgot their own primary responsibility, and they tilted to partition and the scramble of power ahead of 2027. That is one of the major reasons why the attack is all over. Virtually all part of this country is under attack. Coming back to the state police is at the verge of becoming a bill in this country. I have never seen a bill that has actually been fast-tracked within a blink of an eye, because maybe sooner or later they are going to send the bill to the State House of Assemblies so that they can also go and vet on that. But I I begin to wonder and understand what is so special about this state police that they are so desperate to do that. And if you remember yesterday, we analyzed how one of the lawmakers, Senator Bamidali, who is giving assurance to Nigerians that if they come back in the 11th Assembly, he's going to champion a law that will at least give the president and the governor a 6-year term. So I doubt if that policy is not going to see, bill is not going to see the light of the day. And this issue of state police, if you can think twice, no matter what, no matter the level of resistance from Nigerians, the state police will see the light of the day because the executive have interests. And maybe if you ask me the next question, I'm going to tell you more about that state police, which I believe from many Nigerians.
Yes, and right now some critics actually fear that, you know, state governors may abuse the powers that having their own state police will, you know, grant them. Do you think those concerns are justified?
Well, state police, actually, they are going to be used by the executive governors, allegedly, because there will be a time when the appointment of commissioner of police in the state is going to be appointed by the executive governor of the state. We saw how they are appointing chairman and councillors, those people that does not even have the formal and necessary education to chair that affairs. So there will be a moment when the state commissioner of a particular state may not be able to understand the security architecture of the state. And what are you expecting? And also coming back to that, in terms of funding, training, who is going to do that? How sure are we, especially when it comes to payment of salaries? The new national minimum wage, most of the states are yet to pay that new national minimum wage. And you are still going to add additional burden to these governors.
That's very true.
And if you remember, the reason why I say this state police must see the light of the day, if you remember the former IGP of police, Kayode Abetakom, who was actually sacked, allegedly he was sacked, he vehemently rejected the proposal of state police. When he was sacked, immediately Tunde Disu was appointed, and within the period of 2 to 3 months, we saw how he was actually tilting his own interest toward that creation of state police.
Yes. So now, what constitutional safeguards, critical security issues we have, how can we ensure that, you know, we can still monitor and ensure that the state governments actually allow them to do the work that they've been mandated to do?
Yeah, I have to acknowledge the fact that what I saw yesterday at the Halo Chamber, there is one lawmaker representing, I think, Kaduna. He's from Kaduna State, Bashir Shuaibu.
Yeah.
He actually rejected what was actually brought to them, and he was even calling on the leadership of the House that they have to think twice. This bill that was brought to them, they couldn't get time maybe to go into committee stage to study what is there, and they even the bill passed the second stage. So as long as we are going to have some lawmakers that will at least put more eye in the execution of state police. State police is a good one, because if you look at many countries in the world, they are practicing state police. But the truth of the matter is, our politicians are not to be trusted.
But what lessons do you think Nigeria can actually draw from other countries that have already implemented it and it's working for them?
They have to understand that they are doing it in order to protect their own citizens, not as a political weapon. And mind you, if those people, the political elite, that think this problem of insecurity is not affecting them because they are safe, remember, once they are in power, they have VVIP people that those security people are actually protecting them. Remember here, a general was kidnapped and his wife was kidnapped. So you see, if you are in power now, you are safe. The moment you step out of power, your life becomes vulnerable and miserable. So why don't you use this opportunity to do the needful? Because if you leave the corridors of power, you may likely leave, and at the end, it's going to be a ton of lamentation. And at the end of the tunnel, nothing is going to happen. You may likely be the victim of what we are currently seeing.
No truer words than this. Let's just quickly move to our second newspaper, and we'll be looking at the Liberty newspaper. And on the front page, it says, June 12th protest, Falana, CSOs rally against hardship and insecurity. Now, we know that one of Nigeria's foremost senior advocates of Nigeria, Femi Falana, and civil society groups have been mobilizing Nigerians to protest hardship and to also protest about the insecurity in the country. Now, what does this say about the current national mood, being, you know, the fact that we are all supposed to be celebrating the country's democracy today?
Yeah, Femi Falana have been an advocate of good governance, and
yes,
he is actually, whatsoever the country is, he have to put himself, because we saw what happened during the time of NSAS. He was at the forefront, trying to at least support those younger Nigerians in the fight against the scrap of NSAS. And the truth of the matter, this is to tell you that the country have actually felt Nigerians, because if you see your own citizen rallying around the street, chanting some names, calling on the government to do certain things, definitely the government have failed to do their needful. The government have failed to provide the yearning and their own aspiration. And it's not only Femi Falana. I think we saw one celebrity, very dark man, who was actually protesting all over the street of Abuja. We saw how people are actually calling the incumbent president that he should go. And, and mind you, history may likely repeat itself, because what we have been seeing right now, we saw it the same or even worse. Then that was somewhere around 2014, which led to the defeat of the then ruling party, that was PDP. And I could remember a book written by Olusegun Adeni against the run of play, how the incumbent president loses election. So he just outlined these are the kind of rally, the kind of protest that consumed the then PDP government.
But do you think that protests actually work? Do you think they actually have the power of causing change or bringing about change in the society?
Yeah, protests have actually been yielding positive results, and most of the African leaders, the only language they understand is protest. We saw when ASU were actually protesting, which they went on strike. We saw how NSAS, they were protesting, which later led to the scrap of NSAS during the time of President Muhammadu Buhari. But I have a different opinion. I want to speak on what I understand about this June 12th. Even though you didn't ask me about that, I think I will not say much about that. June 12th is our New Democracy Day, which has been officially recognized, but is a long debate, and to many political analysts and to many Nigerians, they are just saying, why are we still celebrating June 12th? What happened to our previous 29 May? So maybe these are the kind of all grievances that led people to move and rally around to solve their own grievances. We know some part of this country have been agitating and yearning that they are the best in terms of every ramification. I believe that some of my colleagues and even some of our viewers may likely disagree with me on the aspect that we will come back and disagree on that aspect.
But do you even really think that the conversation for me, because I think right now a lot of Nigerians, it is not about the day anymore. Democracy Day can be June 15, it can be December 25th, for all we care. What everybody is looking at is to actually enjoy the dividends of democracy. So what do you think, or how do you think that the Tinubu government, what areas do you think they should be looking at to ensure that citizens are actually happy? Because for me personally, it is no longer about the day, but it is about me being able to move around, to enjoy my life freely.
The aspect, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have actually surprised Nigerians. Because we know when the president came on board, he even promised that if he did not give us 24/7 electricity, we should not vote him, which Nigerians are waiting for him ahead of 2027. Today is Friday. I don't want to speak much on that aspect. And on top of insecurity, the government have totally failed in the protection of citizens and even the properties. And in the aspect of welfareism, the government have been doing some political welfareism.
So in just
and in the aspect of
yes,
imposing taxes that are not even matter enough, the government have totally failed.
So
but the government are also doing
I
their
want
own.
you to give a recommendation to the government.
Well, if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his own entourage are actually looking at me right away, please, they should try and put this country into order, because no matter what, they are going to leave the Aso Villa, maybe 2027 or 2031, if Nigeria give them another opportunity. And Nigeria is the only country we have. They should please do everything that will make Nigeria stable, because Nigerians are always lamenting. And those are the people that actually came out and begged that we should vote for them, and we voted for them. They have been unleashing hell to Nigerians.
Thank you so much, Abubakar. Abubakar has said it all. As always, Nigeria is the only country we have, so we have to all put hands on deck to ensure that this country works. Thank you so much for coming out and spending your Democracy Day with us. And that's it.
Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you so much. And that's it on Newspaper Review today. Up next is S24 Report, coming to you after the break. Stay with us. The need for innovation, digital health solutions, and stronger partnerships to improve healthcare services for serving and retired military personnel, as well as their families, has once again been brought to the fore by stakeholders at a one-day symposium in Abuja, the nation's capital. The event marked the 20th anniversary of the Defense Health Maintenance Limited, DHML, bringing together the Military High Command, healthcare professionals and policy makers to chart a sustainable future for military healthcare in Nigeria.
A soldier's peace of mind on the battlefield is deeply tied to the knowledge that their health and the health of their loved ones back home is secure. Therefore, a robust primary health system is not a loss. It is an absolute necessity for operational readiness and national security.
The Nigerian Army recognizes that the effectiveness of any military is largely dependent on the physical and mental well-being of its personnel as combat-ready force. In this regard, the Defense Health Maintenance Limited has remained a strategic partner in ensuring that officers, soldiers, veterans, and their families have access to quality, affordable, and timely healthcare services through its nationwide network of accredited healthcare providers.
As we strive to strengthen our military health systems, there is an increasing need to embrace evidence-based decision-making, leverage emerging technology, and foster strategic partnerships.
Established in 2005, DHML has evolved into a critical institution in Nigeria's defense healthcare architecture, partnering with hundreds of military and civilian healthcare providers across the country to expand access to quality medical services.
DHML is a complementary service to services in healthcare. Okay, so the much they can do, they are doing that. Of course, we are very well, but it will be better.
Speakers at the event highlighted the vital link between quality healthcare, military readiness, and national security, calling for increased funding, wider adoption of digital health solutions, and expanded telemedicine services, particularly for personnel in remote locations.
Just having the knowledge without taking action will not bring a change. In fact, if all we have done today is just to talk, without the action that backs up the evidence from what we have said, almost all of us would have just wasted our time.
The DHML continues and has continued to play its statutory role and his mandate, carrying out his mandate. But we must not shy away from the fact that the primary stream of funding for the armed forces is lagging.
The symposium themed Transforming Military Healthcare Systems for Better Health Coverage through Defense Health Maintenance Limited, Progress, Challenges and Strategic Partnerships, featured panel discussions on strengthening healthcare within the armed forces, alongside goodwill messages, cultural performances, and the presentation of souvenirs to distinguished guests.
Welcome back from that break, and this is Political Arena on S24 Television. June 12th is more than just a public holiday in Nigeria. It is a date deeply connected to the country's democratic journey, sacrifice, and the struggle for civilian rule. But how did June 12 become Democracy Day? And why is it so significant, even decades after the election? Today, we'll be taking a journey through history with Dr. Sunday Kambuge, helping us understand the events, the people, and the lasting impact on June 12 on modern Nigeria. Good afternoon, Dr. Sunday.
Good afternoon.
Before we talk about June 12 itself, Doctor, can you please take us back to Nigeria in the early 90s, what it really looked like before now?
Thank you so much. Maybe before we even talk about the early 90s, maybe we should take it a little bit backward so that we can have a proper understanding of how we found ourselves talking about June 12 in a day like this. Nigeria attained her independence on the 1st of October 1960, having gone through a prolonged period of military administration. At independence, we had three major political parties: the Northern People's Congress, the Action Group, and the National Convention of Nigeria and Cameroon, which later became National Convention of Nigerian Citizens. One of the fundamental things for us to note here is that all these political parties strive to dominate the politics of their ethnic group and try to dominate the politics of their religion. For example, the Northern People's Congress was an offshoot of a Hausa Fulani cultural organization known as the Jami'ar Mutanen Arewa. The Action Group was actually a Yoruba cultural, an offshoot of a Yoruba cultural organization known as the Egbe Omo Odudua, which can easily be translated to the Association of the Children of Odudua. NCNC, which was formed by Nnamdi Azikiwe, wanted to dominate the politics of the Eastern Group. So you can see that from that period, the politics of regionalism, the politics of ethnocentrism was actually entrenched into our political system, to the extent that the 5 political parties that were formed in the Second Republic from 1978 and later contested the politics of 1979 was actually with that kind of disposition. NPN, that later won the general election, was actually a Northern party. The UPN was a Yoruba. And all these regional disposition of our political parties was actually what culminated into what we call the defunct Third Republic. The 2 major political parties in that June 12 that you talked about, talking about the SDP and the NRC. These 2 political parties were actually offshoots of some of these political parties that were formed during the First Republic and the Second Republic. To the extent that when the Third Republic political period started in earnest, the issue of ethnicity, the issue of religion was actually something that was dominant. For example, SDP had Chief MKO Abiola as her candidate, while NRC had Bashir Tofa as its candidate. And the issue of the Muslim ticket that we seem to have it now was actually something that was well entrenched during the defunct Third Republic political junta. So one of the significant issues why we have to talk about June 12 today is because of the fact that it laid the foundation of so many things that we're experiencing politically today, and it laid the foundation and it gave us a framework from which we want to start building up today. For example, the option A4 that was used during the defunct Third Republic political period is what all the political parties have decided to go back to in the conduct of their primary election in the guise of direct primary. So the June 12 is significant in 2 dimensions. Number one, it gave us a very good framework to lay a solid, strong foundation for our democratic journey. And number 2, it also helped us to have a very good retrospective look about where we are coming from and where we intend to go.
Okay. You said the June 12 laid the foundation for many things in the current Republic of Nigeria today. So would you say it was all positive or positive and negative? Yeah,
it's a combination of both. Combination of both because, like I said, the issue of regional politics, the issue of overfanning the embers of religion in politics was actually something that was laid very strongly during that period.
Muslim ticket.
Yes, the much trumpeted Muslim ticket. The issue of, is it the Northerners that will produce the president? But to the positive aspect of it again is the fact that for the first time I read and I saw a situation whereby Nigerian electorate, the voters, actually saw beyond the issue of religion, saw beyond the issue of ethnicity. MKO Abiola, a southwestern candidate, actually won election in Kano State during that Third Republic political period. I don't really see the possibility of that really happening today because you see that even till today, our political decisions are hugely guided by who is this person rather than where this person is. So in many cases, questions are asked in the current dispensation about where somebody is coming from, what religion somebody professes, rather than what this person can bring to the table. So if you talk about whether it's positive or it's negative, I will tell you it's a combination of both. Combination of both because on the positive side of it, the election was adjudged to be one of the free and fairest in the history of the country. But on the negative side of it, again, like I said, it laid a very negative foundation for what we are experiencing today.
The free and fairest election brings me to our next question. Over 30 decades ago, the June 12 event happened, but up till date in Nigeria, it is still regarded as the most free and fairest election. How is that? Can you give us an in-depth into that, sir?
Good. So many elections were conducted from that June 12. 1999, for example, 2003, 2007, 2011, 2015, 2019, 2023, and we are about to conduct another one now. And yet, at any kind of election cycle that comes, we always give reference to June 12 and say, oh, that election was the free. So that means there is something that we are not getting right. That means there are lessons we are supposed to borrow from the activities that characterize the June 12 presidential election. First, for example, to what extent was NEC, that is what the electoral empire was called then, to what extent was NEC under the leadership of Professor Humphrey Ngosu of blessed memory? To what extent did that electoral empire become fully independent to allow political parties to run its own affairs without unnecessarily interfering with what is happening within the system? Last few days ago, we saw a court judgment by the Federal High Court asking INEC to reduce the level of its interference in the activities of political parties. Before then, we have seen instances where INEC wanted to even dictate to political parties when they should conduct their primaries, when they should submit this, how they should do this, how they should do that. For example, for crying out loud, this is supposed to be an independent empire that is not supposed to take side with any political parties. And the political parties are supposed to be encouraged to have their own internal democracy that is well entrenched within them, because it is that internal democracy that is supposed to serve as the springboard for a proper recruitment, because it is the candidates that the political parties give us that we go out to elect them on the elections day. So when the political parties fail in their own responsibilities to entrench internal democracy, it affects the whole democratic empire. At the end of the day, they leave us with candidates that are not competent. They leave us with candidates that are character deficient, and at the end of the day, you wonder where the direction of...
And we are just left to vote for what we have.
Exactly.
Okay. So after the election was annulled, Nigeria entered a turbulent period. What were the immediate and long-term consequences of that decision for the country and its democratic struggle? Yeah,
the first consequence can be explained from this angle. During that defunct Third Republic, Nigeria attempted to go back to a fully democratic dispensation. Okay. Political parties were formed, political activities were we thought that the country was on the road to becoming a fully democratic. So when that election was annulled, unfortunately, an interim government was formed under the leadership of Chief Ernest Shonekan, who lasted for, I think, 80-something days, 82 days or so. After his that 80-something days, General Sani Abacha came calling. He truncated that government, and he took us back to the military junta again. So this is something that we thought that we had left, but because of the shenanigans that characterized the June 12 political dispensation, Nigeria was returned back to the dark days of military administration. General Sani Abacha was in power from November 1993 or 94 till June 1998 when death came calling. And even at that, Nigeria was not well prepared, even with his 5 political parties that he formed, which in the field of political science we call the five leprous hand. With that 5 political parties, we were not fully ripe to go back into democracy until when Abdulsalam Abubakar came for 11 months and he entrenched the democratic process by registering the PDP, the ANPP, the AD to contest elections. So in terms of the political journey, it actually took us some steps backward. Because we had actually left a particular junction, but because of the annulment, it actually took us back to where we were ab initio.
Okay, one last question, and I would like for you to make this very brief, please. Okay, so for many years, Democracy Day was always celebrated on May 29. But recently, or a few years back, it was moved to June 12. Why was that changed, and what has been the effect? Yeah, that is because of the significance of the day, that the day had, and I think that the political class actually felt that, oh, it is good for us to draw lessons from the events of June 12, particularly in the areas of electoral reforms. Again, the need to immortalize the personality of late Chief MKO Abiola actually influenced that decision, because it is not good that
a strong hero that campaigned throughout that canvassed for votes, that did a lot, and he will just be forgotten like that. So June 12th was selected deliberately to ensure that it was the day that the annulment of that election was announced, and it is good for a nation like Nigeria to always remember that a day like this, we once had a very, very credible elections conducted in the country, but unfortunately it didn't see the light of the day. Perhaps our student of history, our student of government, our student of civic education, our student of political science can be able to draw a lot of lessons from that whenever we want to advocate some electoral reforms. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't really feel that we are learning a lot of lessons from that, but maybe we remain optimistic.
Hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, June 12 remains one of the most defining moments in Nigeria's democratic journey. Story of hope, disappointment, and sacrifice, and ultimately the enduring demand of Nigerians for democratic governance. And to my guests, thank you so much for joining us today once again and helping us understand the importance of this chapter in our history.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me.
Stay with us for S24 Report.
Just in a couple of sentences, just issues that we've got at the moment. I mean, as a scholar of history and geography, do you see?
I do not.
Solutions anywhere in the world?
I do not.
Draw on? Okay.
I do not emphatically say I do not see the solution under the democracy. The democracy that says 3 + 3 is 5. 2 + 2 is 3 or 5. Not the correct number. Where a minority number defeats the majority, they say 4 is greater than 12.
With 10 months to go to a presidential election, how you see Nigeria as a country, the path it's on at the moment, there is no solution to the insecurity that it faces in all of its formats without radical change.
Solution may come, but without now predicting it, because as long as power is purchased on the platter, when somebody pays money in order to grab power, then there's no way. Because if that politician gets enough profit and so on, he can conveniently sell the country to foreign interests. And that is what is happening right now. Because right now, security is tossed out to the West, France, America. Even the resources internally generated, revenues and so on, the statistics and so on, they were taken to France, not Nigeria. Nigeria that is full of experts that are taken out. When they are abroad, they excel because the environment is made for them to excel, but not back in Nigeria because they are being sabotaged, harassed and threatened. And therefore, I do not see the solution under the compromisable politicians whose interest is always the next election, rather than thinking of the youth, talking about the next generation. Leaders, elders, good elders of the First Republic, the thought of the next generation. But these ones, my category, those who are older than me, are thinking of the next election by remaining relevant politically. They don't think of what happens to the ordinary Nigerians. And therefore, that solution must be extraordinary, unpredicted, because Nigeria is a prayerful country and above any person or group of persons.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching Sahel Watch. I'm sure that you'll take away from this very much what I'm taking away, which is power purchased on a platter.
Welcome to Security Updates. In today's Security Roundup, authorities and development partners announced key measures aimed at enhancing safety and stability across Nigeria. Now, here are the details of our top security stories. The United Nations Development Programme has pledged to support the 6 northeast states of Nigeria in strengthening security and developing a comprehensive regional policy framework aimed at tackling insecurity, poverty, and other socio-economic challenges. The commitment was made during a regional technical workshop on the National Regional Development Policy 2026-2030 in Maiduguri, where UNDP representative emphasized the importance of creating inclusive policies that address the specific needs of local communities and promote sustainable development across the region. In another story, the Ogun State Police Command has launched a statewide enforcement operation targeting vehicles with covered, obscured, defaced, concealed, fake, unauthorized, or missing registration number plates. The exercise, carried out on the directive of the Inspector General of Police, is aimed at strengthening security across the state by preventing criminals from using concealed identities to carry out unlawful activities. Commissioner of Police Bode Olajuni has directed area commanders, divisional police officers, and tactical teams to impound offending vehicles and investigate violations in line with existing laws. Finally, President Bola Tinubu has expressed concern that the 2026 Democracy Day celebrations were overshadowed by the continued abduction of school children in Oyo and Borno State. In his national address marking Nigeria's 27th Democracy Day, the president acknowledged the pain caused by the incident, but assured Nigerians that efforts were ongoing to secure the safe return of the victims. He stressed that the government remains committed to protecting citizens and restoring peace across the country. And that's your security update. Please stay alert and report any suspicious activity to the authorities. Your safety should always come first. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to Tech Update. I am Gladys Asuko. We'll begin in Nigeria as Nigeria marks its 27th Democracy Day. Retail ecosystems and local digital platforms are rolling out special promotions targeted at consumers during the holiday period. The offers include discounts on tech hardware as well as holiday data bundles designed to keep users connected throughout the 3-day weekend. Industry stakeholders say the initiative is expected to encourage participation while making technology products and internet services more accessible to consumers. Moving on, Nigerian cybersecurity firm Digital Encode has issued an urgent advisory to businesses over rising cyber breaches. The company is urging organizations to audit internet-facing assets, revoke exposed API keys, and as well strengthen monitoring system to reduce security vulnerabilities. Experts say proactive security measures are becoming increasingly important as cyber criminals continue to target businesses and platforms. And finally, still in Nigeria, Nigeria's data center market is projected to exceed $1 billion by 2031, highlighting the country's growing economy. At the same time, government is exploring the use of artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things to improve efficiency within the electricity sector. Authorities are also planning to deploy AI-powered investigative tools to fiber-connected police stations as part of efforts to strengthen security operations and also modernize law enforcement. And that's all for today. For more stories on technology, innovation, and digital economy, stay informed and do stay connected. I'll see you in our next segment. Bye for now.
Welcome to your entertainment update on S24 Rundown. Today, Black Bones and Ashake are celebrating a major music milestone. Comedian Kata Efe is also making headlines with public appeal to Wizkid scam, and we take a look at the rich cultural heritage of the Kaba people in Kogi State. Nigerian rapper Black Bones has scored a major win with his latest collaboration, Channel, featuring Afrobeat star Ashake. The song has reportedly set a new record for the highest first-day Spotify streams by a Nigerian rap track, attracting over 1 million streams within 24 hours of release. Music analysts say the achievement reflects the glory among the country's leading music stars. Meanwhile, comedian and content creator Kata Efe is trending online after a viral video showed him appealing to Wizkid's manager for help during an encounter in a parking lot. The video has sparked mixed reaction on social media, with some fans expressing sympathy while others are questioning the motive behind the public appeal. Neither Wizkid nor his management team has officially responded to the incident. And in culture, we spotlight the Kaba people of Kogi State, a Yoruba-speaking community renowned for its rich traditions and strong cultural identity. The people of Kaba place a great value on respect for elders, community unity, traditional leadership, and cultural festivals that have preserved their history and heritage. Despite the influence of modernization, many of these customs remain an important part of everyday life. That's a wrap on Entertainment Update. I am Karimet Hassan. Stay tuned for our next segment.
Hello and welcome to your sport update. What a dramatic way to kick off the biggest football show on earth. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is officially underway, and co-host Mexico got their campaign off to a flying start with a fiery 2-0 victory over South Africa at the iconic Estadio Azteca. Julian Quinones etched his name into history by scoring the tournament's opening goal, before veteran striker Raul Jimenez sealed the win with a clinical finish in the second half. But the match wasn't short of controversy as South Africa endured a nightmare evening, finishing with just 9 players after Spepolo, Sitol and Temba Zwan were both sent off. Mexico also has Cesar Montes dismissed late on in an opening match packed with drama, intensity and a deafening atmosphere inside the famous Azteca. Moving on, from football to the track, Nigerian spirit sensation Kayinsola Ajayi is chasing history once again. The Nigerian record holder has booked his place in the final of the men's 100 meters at the NCAA Outdoor Championships in Oregon, after storming to victory in his semi-final with a time of 9.94 seconds. Ajayi, who recently shattered Olusoji Fashuba's 20-year-old national record with a blistering 9.84 seconds, will now battle for his first NCAA title alongside fellow Nigerian and urban teammate Israel Okon. Can he bring home the crown? Nigeria will certainly be watching. Now to Spain, where Real Madrid have turned back the clock. The Spanish Giants have announced the sensational return of Jose Mourinho as head coach on a 3-year deal. 13 years after leaving the Bernabeu, the self-proclaimed special one is back with a mission: restore Real Madrid to the summit of European football. And it appears Mourinho is already making moves in the transfer market. Reports suggest Portuguese midfielder Bernardo Silva is on the verge of swapping Manchester City from Madrid after an incredible 9-year spell in England that delivered 20 trophies. The deal is reportedly in its final stages and could be confirmed any moment from now. And that's your sport update for today. Do have a lovely weekend. I am Martha Okpala-Nedu. Make sure to stay tuned, because if this is just the beginning, then we are in for an unforgettable ride. Coming up next is PG News after the break.
Now, good afternoon and welcome to S24 Pidgin. And this is the major news update we will bring come given this Friday. As we roll out today, we get full load of story from inside Nigeria, from the corridors of power inside our local communities and across the international waters enter South Korea. First stop, make we start from Aso Rock. Concerning the economy of the country, President Bola Tinubu don't voice out, give Nigerians say truly him no say many citizens still face economic hardship and things hard, even with all the new economic reforms or in administration they carry out to make the country stand well. Inside the Special Democracy Day message where the president gives to the nation, him Greek clear say price of things cost and life never balance for many families. But him give assurance say government's eyes they the matter and they try all their best to reduce the price of food, boost farming, create plenty jobs, and make sure say the benefit of democracy reach everybody pockets, not just to hear them for news. President Tinubu also had say the reforms wey dem start since 2023 don't start to bring more money enter government accounts, and they attract big investors enter agriculture, energy, and manufacturing. In look the government side, in look the security side too, as in talks the development no fit day if security no tight, especially as in kidnap school children for Oyo and Borno State recently. In promise say them go fix the security architecture of the country as the president they try settle the country economy and promise better life. Make we look how security matter they go for northern Nigeria now. For inside another news, the governor of Katsina State, Dikko Radda, don't open window of peace, give bandits with the inside northwest area. Governor Radda tell them say make them drop guns, come out for bush and embrace peace, and say the state government ready to support anyone we surrender to fit start normal life again inside the society. The governor talk say this one during the commissioning of 152 mass housing units for internally displaced persons for Jibia local government area. Governor Radda explained the insecurity matter for the region don't pass ordinary crime as poverty, bad weather, and social wahala join for the matter. In review, say the repentant bandits will drop weapon go get access to house, grants, and empowerment program for IDPs wey enter the new house for Jibia. The government give them mattress, blankets, cooking stove, and bag of rice, plus 200,000 naira cash grant to start new life. Make we look away from security matter. Another big fight they happen for inside oil sector where economic saboteurs they deal with nation's wealth. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, don't look ground reveal say them don't count 24 times where bad people break pipeline thief oil between 2025 this year. NNPC give this report after and security agency go inspect one pipeline where thief vandalized for Pai community inside the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. According to the details, 19 cases of these thefts happened last year, 2025, while 5 don't happen already inside this year, 2026. NNPC managed say pipeline thefts don't really increase in 2024 because the criminals now they disguise as fake government task force agents to damage the facilities. Them say the 9 kilometers of pipeline named in carry go last year. The FCT Police Command don't enter the matter and them say they don't trace the sponsors and people where they buy the stolen properties. And very soon, court matter go start. As NNPC they trace people where they thief oil, make we look one state government for north where they use technology trace how Peking they learn. Jigawa State don't start to make history as the first place for the whole world to deploy one massive enterprise and artificial intelligence technology suits enter all them public basic schools to change how village and town Peking they learn. This program where them they call Jigawa Unite, them don't do one with partnership from the New Globe and plan to support teachers, give children assignments for home through phones and give the government real-life data of what they happen inside classrooms. The chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, Professor Haruna Musa, talk for Duse say the technology now breakthrough will go help block the gap between rural schools and town schools so that children for village go fit catch up with the global technology standards. From school matter and artificial intelligence, make we look wetin they happen for inside courts for Lagos where law they heavy on top illegal businesses. Federal High Court for Lagos don't convict 11 Indian sailors and their massive ship MV Arun Hulia because them carry 31.5 kilograms of cocaine enter Nigeria. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, intercepted the ship for Apapa Port early this year, January. The sailors and the ship plead guilty for court, and the judge ordered the ship owners to pay $5.3 million as reinstitution for federal government of Nigeria. The principal officers of the ship go pay $100,000 each, while the other crew members go pay $50,000 each as fine. The NDLEA said the judgment now serious warning to international drug syndicates as Nigeria waters no be safe place for illegal business. As courts they hammer sailors for Lagos, another big political and legal judgments don't happen for international level. One court for South Korea don't send the former president Yoon Suk Yeol go jail for 30 years because him send military drones enter North Korea. The court find the former leader guilty, say him use the military do political game. The judge say him deliberately send those drones to provoke North Korea make fight start so that him fit get reason to claim martial law and hold on to power in 2024. Even though the ex-president denied the matter, say him do one for national security, the court say power now for national protection, no be for personal gain. The former leader still they face other court cases as South Korea they try settle the political shakeup. My people, now inside South Korea we will take wrap up this heavy news with updates for today on S24 television. As today na Friday, make I use this special chance thank all of our viewers with look us from back to back from Monday to Friday. My name is Onie Shukra. Don't forget to follow us on top all our social media handles for more updates as they drop hot. Until next week when we bring another fresh update, make una enjoy on a beautiful weekend.
Thank you, Shukra, for that version of our news. And this brings us to the